नाची जाय सहचर गण गाय गदाधर अंगे पुर ध्वनिया धुलिया गदाधर अंगे पुर धुलिया पुरुरु भरा भसलीला एबे पाहो प्रकाशिला से वृंदावन न दिया बिहारे गंगा तीरे से धीर सामिरे वृंदावन दास को है जानिया नाचे रे नेताय गौरा गुण मनिया नाचे रे निताय नाचे रे निताय गौरा गुण मनिया नाचे रे निताय गौर द्विज मनिया जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिष्यमद ऐसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिष्यमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की नाम श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोविंद श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की नवद्वीप धाम की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की तुलसी देवी की भक्ति देवी की समवेत भक्तवृंद की all glories to the devotees, Hare Krishna, all glories to the devotees, all glories to the devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Namo Vishnupada Krishna Bhakti Vikas Sattvan. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, reading from Madhya Leela, sorry, hang on. Anta Leela chapter 6, you can bring up. So this is the Panihati Panihati festival. So also known as the festival of punishment. So it is. We're gonna read through. You can just go to that chapter. We're gonna maybe. I'm gonna read through a few things here, and then you can just go to the index for now. It was yeah. So this is a very special festival, especially being in Atlanta. This is the Panihati Dham. Srila Prabhupada named it Panihati Dham. After this festival that is going on here, it's still in India. You can go and visit this Panihati Dham. You can go and see the place where this pastime was performed. It's very close to Calcutta. This is if you really want to see it. Also, you can see the recent video that is on Bhakti Vikas Maharaj's channel, where he is at the place of pilgrimage and telling you there's like the tree there under which Nityananda Prabhu performed his pastimes. So it's very close to that Ganga where they took this Chiddadahi. It's a very ecstatic festival, and it is very much closely associated with Raghunath Das Goswami, who is one of our 6 Goswamis. And he specifically displayed this renunciation of a devotee. He really personified that, and you can, when you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll go through some of it, but you'll see I think it's in this chapter actually, towards the end of this chapter, how he lives in Jagannath Puri and how he becomes a beggar and how he just keeps renouncing more and more and more. So Raghunath Das Goswami, here we'll read about how he actually left his home and how he was punished by Nityananda Prabhu. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he actually met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and although he wanted to renounce everything at that instant moment, he was advised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go back home and act as a pound and shillings man. He was working under the Muslim regime, right? He was like, not him, are you sure? Okay, all right, here. And one of his uncles, so he was at home and he was performing his family duties. He had a very beautiful wife, it is said. You send me something? He had a very beautiful wife. Okay. So first what I'll do, I was going to read a verse down here, but okay, before I begin, because I'm going to start speaking, I'll do the Mangala Charan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunitamena Tasmai Shigurve Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Khadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandiyam Shri Guru Shita Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Ragnatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savasitam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatvate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavane Sri Vishavani Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchagal Kripa Sindhu Bhya Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Vadal Shrimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Namane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Vadal Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvisesh Shunyavadi Paschate Desataya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here, if we start here at number 4. Sorry, not at number 4, because it actually begins a little bit later down the line. So if you go to 14, that's where it kind of starts. So here, instead of becoming a so-called renunciant, Raghunath Das, following the instruction of the Lord, returned home and played exactly like a pound and shillings man. Raghunath Das was inwardly completely renounced, even in family life, but he did not express his renunciation externally. Instead, he acted just like an ordinary businessman. Seeing this, his father and mother were satisfied. When he received a message that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had returned from Mathura city, Raghunath Das endeavored to go to the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, there was a Muslim official collecting taxes of Saptagrama. When Hiranya Das, Raghunath Das's uncle, made an agreement with the government to collect taxes, the Muslim Chaudhry, or tax collector, having lost his position, became extremely envious of him. Hiranya Das was collecting 2 million coins and therefore should have delivered 1.5 million to the government. Instead, he was giving only 1.2, thus making an extra profit of 300,000 coins. Seeing this, the Muslim Chaudhry was a Turk, became his rival. So it goes on to describe how Raghunath Das Goswami becomes involved in this. This Chaudhry starts to chastise him. He wants to beat him, but seeing that he is what's the word? He's from the Kayastha community. He cannot do so. So he verbally abuses him quite a lot. But then Raghunath Das Goswami is so expert, he starts to speak to him in very sweet words and tells him that actually we're all brothers. You're a very great man. You follow the scriptures very greatly. Puffs him up very nicely. And the fellow starts weeping and crying. And then he lets Raghunath Das Goswami goes and tells, please advise your uncle to be better with this. Try to get this money returned to me. But he's very relaxed about it. And so then we see Raghunath Das Goswami. He made sure that everything was peaceful between this Chaudhry and his uncle. So he let a whole year pass doing this. And so after a whole year of doing this, Raghunath Das Goswami, it seems that he came to a point where he no longer wanted to participate in such things anymore. So it's described that one night, he got up alone one night and left, but his father caught him in a distant place and brought him back. He just decided to leave home again. Every time he would leave, his father would catch him and bring him back. And so his mother would say, this is in 6.38, our son has become mad, she said. Just keep him by binding with ropes. His father, being very unhappy, replied as follows. Raghunath Das, our son, has opulences like Indra, the heavenly king, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel. Yet all this could not tie down his mind. How then could we keep this boy home by binding him with ropes? It is not possible even for one's father to nullify the reactions of one's past activities. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on him. Who can keep home such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? Then Raghunath Das considered something in his mind, and the next day he went to Nityananda Gosai. So Raghunath Das Goswami, if you read the Krishna book, or in the 10th canto, it's described in the Krishna book too, but in the 10th canto, you've got the verses itself. It is described how the gopis, their hearts were stolen by Krishna through their ears. That Krishna entered the hearts of the gopis through their ears and stole them. They chastise Krishna like this, say, you stole us, you stole everything that we have. You entered through their ears, the Krishna Katha entered through their ears, and it stole their hearts. Similarly, Raghunath Das Goswami, his heart was completely stolen by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At the sight of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately wanted to give everything up. He became very inspired to immediately give everything up. It's described here that he has opulences like Indra, the king of heaven. Raghunath Das Goswami, he was such a great person. He had so much wealth. And his wife is as beautiful as an angel. Yet all this could not tie him down. You can imagine, like, even nowadays, if someone has a beautiful wife, or even not such a beautiful wife, they're so attached. Or a girlfriend. They're so attached, we've seen so many times. They're so attached to the form of beautiful form of a woman. But Raghunath Das Goswami, he could give it up just like that. It had no significance to him in his mind because he was so attracted to Chaitanya Chandra, the moon. Chaitanya, this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's just like the moon, who's bright like the moon, who's very beautiful, as we are reading in this Nachere Nitai, you can just like, or even Gora Arti, how beautifully it's described that his body is anointed with sandal paste and drops of holy juice and forest flowers, garland dangles nicely across his chest. A white Brahman thread hangs across his neck. His form defeats millions of cupids and ankle bells jingle on his feet. The two brothers are dancing and the associates sing with Gadadhar's body, while Gadadhar's body is pelted with powder. So you can understand how beautiful this body of this Lord is. Gales Subhra Upavati Rupa Koti Kama Jita. That he can conquer millions of cupid. The body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can conquer millions of cupid. So just at the sight of it, Raghunath Das Goswami, he had no interest whatsoever, not a little tinge to even engage in material life. But because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him to do so, that he had a family and to take care of and such, so he told him, do not renounce yet. You go back home and you act like a materialistic man. But inside he was actually renounced completely. He had not a small speck of desire for sense gratification. So his father is saying like this is impossible to tie down a man who is attracted to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Chandra. So he went to see Nityananda Gosai after leaving home. He left home, against the will of his father and his mother. The father and mother were crying and weeping and unhappy. But like it says, how can you tie down a madman? When one becomes intoxicated with the Hari, this rasa, this rasa of bhakti, this rasa of devotion to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this feeling, this attraction, there's no way you can tie down a man. So there's no use of it. There was no use of it. They had to let him go. So in the village of Panihati, Raghunath Das Goswami obtained an interview with Nityananda Prabhu, who was accompanied by many kirtan performers. Sitting on a rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganga, Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising moons. Many devotees sat on the ground surrounding him. Seeing the influence of Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das was astonished. Raghunath Das Goswami offered his obeisance by falling prostrate at a distant place. At the servant of Nityananda Prabhu pointed out, "This is Raghunath Das offering you obeisances." Hearing this, Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, "You are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you." So the Lord called him, but Raghunath Das did not go near the Lord. Then the Lord forcibly caught him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head. Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das as follows: "You are just like a thief. Just instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. Now I have captured you. I shall punish you." Okay, so purports to them here. But this is the verse we'll start with. So, Dadi chida bhakshana kara mora gane. Everyone can repeat. Shoni anandita haila raghunatha mane. Dadi chida bhakshana kara mora gane. Suni anandita haila raghunatha mane. Dadi chira bhakshana karak moragane. Shuni anandita haila raghunatha mane. Okay, so translation. Okay, we'll do the word for word. Dadhi, yogurt. Chida, chip rice. Bhakshana, karaha, karaha, feed. Moragani, my associates. Suni, hearing. Anandita hila, became very happy. Raghunath Dasa, money in the mind. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Make a festival and feed all my associates with yogurt and chip rice. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. So this was the punishment Nityananda Prabhu bestowed upon Raghunath Das Goswami. It's quite interesting. He calls him like a thief, that you stay very far. Raghunath Das Goswami hesitated to go near Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him and pulled him in close. He said, come here. And what did he do? He stepped on his head. Have you seen that picture? Everybody seen that picture of maybe somebody? Tai? You can bring it up. Krishna Life Sankirtan logo. Oh, okay. Yeah, this one right here. So this is all the associates of Lord Sri Nityananda Prabhu surrounding him. And then we've got, you searching it? Yeah, there it is. It's just, okay. So you can see that Raghunath Das Goswami, you can see that because of his internal devotion, this devotion that he had for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he was exhibiting renunciation internally, although externally engaged in so many material activities. And then when he had the opportunity, he just let it go without a thought. He just one day, he was okay, I'm done. And he dipped out, he walked out of his house. He kept getting pulled back, but he didn't care. So Nityananda Prabhu, being very pleased with him, called him like a thief and pulled him close, and he punished him in this way. He was very merciful unto him by placing his lotus feet upon the head of Raghunath Das Goswami. You can only understand the exalted position of Raghunath Das Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very pleased with the renunciation of his devotees. Does anybody know that verse? I'm forgetting. Mitaran Prabhu? You don't know this verse? Okay. Maybe if you search Vairagya Pradhan, I think that might be the how you might be able to find it. So Nityananda Prabhu was very pleased with this renunciation of Raghunath Das Goswami. It's in this chapter. So Mahaprabhu Bhaktir Gan Vairagya Pradhan Yaha Dekhi Pritag Hana Gaura Bhagavan. So this goes until 220. I don't think we'll make it all the way over there. What time is it? 8:10, okay. So renunciation is the basic principle sustaining the lives of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. Seeing this renunciation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is extremely satisfied. So it's interesting how that, go up, what's the chapter's name on this one? There's the chapter name. The meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami is like the personification of this renunciation that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pleased with. So this vairagya, this renunciation of Raghunath Das Goswami was very pleasing to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And because he had Raghunath Das Goswami was a very rich man. He had the same opulence as that of Indra. Nityananda Prabhu happily engaged him in the Chidadahi festival. So if you go back to 51 now. So 52, sorry. So Raghunath Das immediately sent his own men to the village to purchase all kinds of edibles and bring them back. Raghunath Das bought chipped rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, other edibles, and placed them all around. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, all kinds of brahmanas and other gentlemen began to arrive. Thus there were innumerable people. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunath Das arranged to get more edibles from other villages. He also bought 200 or 400 large round earthen pots. He also obtained 5 or 7 specially large earthen pots, and in these pots Brahmana began soaking chip rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. In one place, chip rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots. Then half the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar, and bananas. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and special type of banana known as Chanpakala, Chankapakala. Then sugar, clarified butter, and camphor were added. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, the Brahmana brought before him the seven huge pots. On the platform, all the important associates of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Among them were Ramadasa, Sundarananda, Gadadhar Das, Murari, Kamalakara, Sadashiva, and Purandara. Dhananjaya, Jagadisha, Parameshwara Dasa, Mahesha, Gauri Dasa, and Ahoda Krishna Dasa were also there. Similarly, Udharana Das, Datta Thakur, and many other personal associates of the Lord sat on the raised platform with Nityananda Prabhu. No one could count them all. Hearing about the festival, all kinds of learned scholars, Brahmin and priests went there. Lord Nityananda Prabhu honored them and made them sit on the raised platform with him. Everyone was offered 2 earthen pots. In one was put chipped rice with condensed milk, and in another chipped rice with yogurt. All the other people sat in groups around the platform. No one could count how many people there were. Each and every one of them was supplied 2 earthen pots, one of chipped rice soaked in yogurt, and the other of chipped rice soaked in milk. Some of the Brahmanas, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges, with their 2 earthen pots and soaked them there with their chipped rice there. Soaked their chipped rice there. Others who could not get a place, even on the banks of the Ganges, got down into the water and began eating their 2 kinds of chipped rice. Thus, some sat on the platform, some at the bank of the platform, and some on the bank of the Ganga, and they were all supplied 2 pots each by the 20 men who distributed the food. At this time, Raghava Pandit arrived there. Seeing this situation, he began to laugh in great surprise. He bought many kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord. This prasadam he first placed before Lord Nityananda and then distributed among the devotees. Raghava Pandit said to Lord Nityananda, "For you, sir, I have already offered food to the deity, but you are engaged in festival here, and so the food is lying there untouched." Lord Nityananda replied, "Let me eat all this food here during the day, and I shall eat at your home at night. I belong to a community of cowherd boys, and therefore I generally have many cowherd associates with me. I'm happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy banks of the river." Lord Nityananda made Raghava Pandit sit down and had 2 pots delivered to him also. There were 2 kinds of chipped rice soaked in them. When chipped rice had been served to everyone, Lord Nityananda Prabhu in meditation bought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, Lord Nityananda Prabhu stood up. They then saw how the others were enjoying chipped rice with yogurt and condensed milk. From each and every pot, Lord Nityananda Prabhu took 1 morsel of chipped rice and pushed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a joke. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also smilingly took a morsel of food, pushed it into the mouth of Nityananda and laughed as he made Lord Nityananda eat it. In this way, Lord Nityananda was walking through all the groups of eaters, and all the Vaishnavas standing there were seeing the fun. No one could understand what Nityananda Prabhu was doing as he walked about. Some, however, were very fortunate, could see that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also present. Then Nityananda Prabhu smiled and sat down. On his right side, he kept 4 pots of chipped rice that had not been made from bodily boiled paddies. Lord Nityananda offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a place and had him sit down. Then together the 2 brothers began eating chipped rice. Seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating with him, Lord Nityananda Prabhu became very happy and exhibited varieties of ecstatic love. Lord Nityananda Prabhu ordered, "All of you eat, chant the holy names of Hari." Immediately holy names, Hari, Hari, resounded, filling the entire universe. When all the Vaishnavas were chanting the holy name, Hari, Hari, and eating, they remembered how Krishna and Balaram ate with their companions and the cowherd boys on the bank of the Yamuna. So I want to bring up this, what is this arti, the midday arti? What is this song called again? Bhoga arti. Okay, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes this in this Bhoga Arati song that, let me see here. Okay. So, You bring it up. We'll start with 9. Go to 9. Go actually start with 8. So in great ecstasy and joy, Krishna eats the rice, curried vegetables, sweets and pastries cooked by Srimati Radharani. Krishna's funny Brahmana friend, Madhumangal, who is very fond of laddus, gets them by hook or by crook. Is it the same translation I'm reading? Eating the laddus, he shouts, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, and he makes a funny sound by slapping his sides under his armpits with his hands. Behold, Radharani and her gopis, friends out of the corner of his eyes, Krishna eats at the house of Mother Yashoda with great satisfaction. After lunch, Krishna drinks rose-scented water. Then all of the boys standing in line wash their mouths. After all the cowherd boys wash their hands and mouths, in great bliss, they take rest with Lord Balaram. The 2 cowherd boys, Jambula and Rasala, what is it? Is the diacritics on that one? No? Okay. Rasala. Then bring Krishna pan, made with beetle nuts, fancy spices, and what is this? Katichu. After eating the pan, Krishna Chandra then happily goes to sleep, while Krishna happily takes his rest on the excellent bedstead. His servant Vishalak, what does it say up there? Vishalaksha cools him with a fan of peacock feathers. At Mother Yashoda's request, the gopis Tanishta bring remnants of food left on Krishna's plate to Srimati Radharani, who eats them with great delight. So you can start to, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes some of these things here, how the cowherd boys would, even in the Krishna book is described how they would run and they would steal each other's lunch, and they're playing and taking. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting that pastime of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, because they're cowherd boys, and Nityananda Prabhu specifically is saying that I'm just a cowherd boy and I carry many other cowherd boys with me. So here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually appearing just by the meditation of Nityananda Prabhu. This is described like that. From his meditation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming. And actually not everyone was able to see him. That's those who were very fortunate were able to also see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so here, they're ecstatically enjoying this festival of Panihati Chidadai, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are exhibiting this pastime of being this cowherd boys. So when all the Vaishnavas are chanting the holy names Hari Hari and eating, they remember how Krishna and Balaram ate with their companions, the cowherd boys, on the bank of the Yamuna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu are extremely merciful and liberal. It was Raghunath Das' good fortune that they accepted all these dealings. Nityananda Prabhu, that he induced Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come and eat chip rice on the bank of the Ganga. All the confidential devotees who were cowherd boys, headed by Sri Ramadasa, were absorbed in ecstatic love. They thought the bank of the Ganga to be the bank of the Yamuna. When the shopkeepers of many other villages heard about the festival, they arrived there, selling chip rice, yogurt, sweetmeats, and bananas. As they came, bringing all kinds of foods, Raghunath Das purchased it all. He gave them the price for their good and later fed them the very same food. Anyone who came to see how these funny things were going on was also fed chip rice, yogurt, and bananas. After Lord Nityananda Prabhu finished eating, he washed his hands and mouth and gave Raghunath Das the food remaining in the 4 pots. There was food remaining in 3 other big pots of Lord Nityananda, and a Brahmana distributed to all the devotees, giving a morsel to each. Then a Brahmana bought a flower garland, placed the garland on Nityananda Prabhu's neck, and speared sandalwood pulp all over his body. When a servant bought beetle nuts and offered them to Lord Nityananda, the Lord smiled and chewed them. With his own 2 hands, Lord Nityananda Prabhu distributed to all the devotees whatever flower, garlands, sandalwood pulp, and beetle nuts remained. After receiving the remnants of the food left by Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das, who was greatly happy, ate some and distributed the rest among his own associates. Thus, I have described the pastimes of Lord Nityananda Prabhu in relation to the celebration of festival of chip rice and yogurt. Nityananda Prabhu rested for the day, and when the day ended, he went to the temple of Raghava Pandit and began congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Lord Nityananda Prabhu first influenced all the devotees to dance, and finally he himself began dancing, thus inundating the entire world in ecstatic love. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was observing the dancing of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Lord Nityananda Prabhu could see this, but others could not. The dancing of Nityananda Prabhu, like the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, cannot be compared to anything within these three worlds. No one can properly describe the sweetness of Lord Nityananda's dancing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has personally come to see it. After the dancing and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, after the dancing and after Lord Nityananda Prabhu had rested, Raghava Pandit submitted his request that the Lord take supper. So this goes on. I wanted to see if Raghunath Das Goswami is spoken about again here. It's interesting. No, there's no purports throughout that whole section. So 108. Okay, this goes on to talk about how they took more prasadam. So actually after all of this, in the morning, so if you go to 126, so in the morning, after taking his bath in the Ganga, Nityananda Prabhu sat down with his associates beneath the same tree under which he had previously sat. Raghunath Das went there and worshipped Lord Nityananda's lotus feet. Through Raghava Pandit, he submitted his desire. I am the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen and condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon, I have tried my best many times, but I have never been successful. Every time I tried to go away and give up my home relationships, my father and mother unfortunately kept me bound. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. But if you are merciful, even to the lowest of men can attain shelter at his lotus feet. Although I am unfit and greatly afraid to submit this plea, I nevertheless request you, sir, to be especially merciful towards me by granting me shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Placing your feet on my head, give me this benediction that I may achieve the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without difficulty. I pray for this benediction. After hearing this appeal by Raghunath Das, Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiled and told all the devotees, Raghunath Das' standard of material happiness is equal to that of Indra, the king of heaven. Because of mercy bestowed upon him by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das, also situated in such material happiness, does not like it at all. Therefore, let every one of us be merciful towards him and give him the benediction that he may very soon attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who experiences the fragrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna does not value even the standard of happiness available in Brahmaloka, the topmost planet. What to speak of heavenly happiness? Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is offered sublime poetic prayers by those trying to attain his favor. Thus he is known as Uttama Shloka, being very eager to gain the association of Lord Krishna. King Bharata, although in the prime of youth, gave up his very attractive wife, affectionate children, most beloved friends, and opulent king, exactly as one gives up stool after excreting it. Then Lord Nityananda Prabhu called Raghunath Das near him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head and began to speak. My dear Raghunath Das, he said, since you arranged the feast on the bank of the Gangas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here just to show you his mercy. By his causeless mercy, he ate the chipped rice and milk. Then, after seeing the dancing of the devotees at night, he took his supper. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauda Hari, came here personally to deliver you. Now rest assured that all the impediments meant for your bondage are gone. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you as place you under the charge of his secretary Sarup Damodar. You will thus become one of the most confidential internal servants and will attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being assured of this, return to your own home. Very soon, without impediments, you will attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus Nityananda had Raghunath Das blessed all the devotees, and Raghunath Das offered his respect to his lotus feet. After taking leave of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and then all of other Vaishnavas, Sri Raghunath Das consulted secretly with Raghava Pandit. After consulting with Raghava Pandit, he secretly delivered 100 gold coins and about 7 tolas of gold into the hand of Nityananda Prabhu's treasurer. Raghunath Das admonished the treasurer. What does admonished mean? Anybody know what admonished means? Do not speak about this to Lord Nityananda Prabhu now, but when he returns home, kindly inform him about this presentation. Thereupon Raghav Pandit took Raghunath Das to his home. After inducing him to see the deity, he gave Raghunath Das a garland and sandalwood pulp. He gave Raghunath Das a large quantity of prasadam to eat on his way home. Then Raghunath Das again spoke to Raghava Pandit. I want to give money, he said, just to worship the lotus feet of the great devotees, servants and subservients of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. As you think fit, give 20, 50, 12, 10 or 5 coins to each of them. Raghunath Das drew up an account of the amount to be given and submitted to Raghava Pandit, who then made up a list showing how much money was to be paid to each and every devotee. With great humility, Raghunath Das placed 100 gold coins and about 2 tolas of gold before Raghava Pandit for all the other devotees. After taking dust from the feet of Raghava Pandit, Raghunath Das returned to his home, feeling greatly obliged to Lord Nityananda Prabhu because of having received his merciful benediction. From that day on, he did not go into the interior section of his house. Instead, he would sleep on the Durga Mandapa, the place where Mother Durga was worshipped. There, however, the watchman alertly kept guard. Raghunath Das was thinking of various means by which to escape their vigilance. At that time, all devotees of Bengal were going to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Das could not accompany them, for they were so famous that he would have been caught immediately. Thus, Raghunath Das thought deeply about how to escape, and one night while he was sleeping on the Durga Mandapa, the priest Yadunandana Acharya entered the house when only 4 dandas remained until the end of the night. Yadunandana Acharya was the priest and spiritual master of Raghunath Das. Although born in a Brahmana family, he had accepted the mercy of Vasudeva Datta. Yadunanda Acharya had been officially initiated by Advaita Acharya, thus he considered Lord Chaitanya his life and soul. So, I just want to finish this section off here. Okay, so 66. After saying this, Yadunandana Acharya took Raghunath Das with him and went out. By that time, all the watchmen were deeply asleep because it was the end of the night. East of the house of Raghunath Das was the house of Yadunanda Acharya. Yadunanda Acharya and Raghunath Das talked together as they went towards the house. Halfway along the path, Raghunath Das submitted at the lotus feet of spiritual master, I shall go to the home of that Brahmana, induce him to return and send him to your home. You may go home without anxiety. Following your order, I shall pursue the Brahmana. On this plea, after asking permission, Raghunath Das decided to go away. Raghunath Das thought, this is the greatest opportunity to go away because this time there is no servants or watchmen with me. Thinking this way, he quickly proceeded towards the east. Sometimes he turned around and looked back, but no one was following him. Thinking of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he left the general path and proceeded with great haste on the one not generally used. Giving up the general path from village to village, he passed through the jungles, thinking with heart and soul about the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He walked about 30 miles in one day, and in the evening he took rest in the cowshed of a milkman. When the milkman saw Raghunath Das, he was fasting. He gave him some milk. Raghunath Das drank that milk and lay down to rest there for the night. So Raghunath Das Goswami eventually gets to Jagannath Puri, and he surrenders unto Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can understand this Chiddadahi festival, this Panihati festival, this chip rice festival, the chip rice and yogurt festival is very special because it's not just a feast. It's not just devotees coming together and just having a feast just for the sake of it. But you can see in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that all pastimes... What happened? Oh, yeah. So this is the festival that's going on. You can see all the different pots and Nityananda Prabhu there with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all the devotees are ecstatically engaging in honoring Krishna Prasadam in the Gangas, on the shore, everywhere. It was completely full. So this pastime is not just of taking chip rice, but it's actually a pastime of surrender. You can see the exhibition of surrender of Raghunath Das Goswami, and the result of such a surrender is that one gets the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. One gets mercy from Nityananda Prabhu. Raghunath Das Goswami is giving up everything. Take. How can I serve these devotees? That is the mood of Raghunath Das Goswami. And so in this, and Nityananda Prabhu, he's bestowing all his mercy upon Raghunath Das, seeing that renunciation. So Nityananda Prabhu, he's actually Adi Guru. He is the spiritual master. He is the original spiritual master. And so, and all other spiritual masters are representation of Nityananda Prabhu. So we can see that the spiritual master, he's very pleased by the renunciation of the devotees, and he can actually, in the Bhagavatam, by reading the Bhagavatam, you can understand that because the spiritual master is Shakshad Hari, is a manifestation of the Lord, he can bestow upon the disciple any benediction. So any benediction that the disciple wants, that the spiritual master can bestow upon him in order to attain that lotus feet of Chaitanya Chandra. So Nityananda Prabhu, he bestowed that mercy upon Raghunath Das Goswami. He held this very ecstatic festival where Lord Chaitanya came and honored this feast that Raghunath Das Goswami held. And so we can take in that same footsteps, we can take that same mood of renunciation, Raghunath Das Goswami. If you continue reading this pastime, you can understand the level of renunciation Raghunath Das Goswami was at. He was at one point, he was just eating the rice that was rejected. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come and say, what are you hiding from me, O Raghunath? What is that special thing you are hiding from me? And you take that from Raghunath Das Goswami and take it. It's like raw rice, uncooked rice. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he going from a man who's very rich, very aristocratic, very opulent, but you could tell, or you can understand from this pastime, he had not a tinge of attraction for that. And so him being in that renounced state of life, he was very capable, or he had the ability to be bestowed upon the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the pastime of this particular verse, as we recited before, comes in this pastime of renunciation, of internally, externally we may be engaged in so many material engagements or occupations or duties, but if we can have this mood of renunciation like Raghunath Das Goswami and serve the devotees like this and make them feel very ecstatic, just like we can see anytime the devotees come together in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they take prasadam, it's a very enlivening atmosphere. It is not very quiet and everybody's very serious, and it's not like that at all. It is full of life. It is full of, you can see, all the devotees are joking and laughing and enjoying this pastime. They were very much absorbed in it. They were very absorbed in seeing Nityananda Prabhu happy. Nityananda Prabhu was in great ecstasy seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu present there. So we can understand that it is not, we of course when we take prasadam, we're sober in the sense that we're not trying to enjoy the prasadam. We're performing service to it. This is prasada seva. But we can see in this pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that it is very ecstatic to be engaged in this process of just taking prasadam, and the spiritual master is actually very enlivened by that, seeing the devotees take prasadam. So Nityananda Prabhu is engaging all his disciples and all the associates in taking this Panihati Chiddadahi, this Chiddadahi. Actually, this Panihati was one of the central places for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to come and congregate also. So it's a very special place. And it's even more special, Nityananda Prabhu bestowing that mercy upon Raghunath Das and performing these pastimes like a cowherd boy, taking prasadam, being very ecstatic, very blissful, and just exhibiting that same characteristics of Balaram. I mean, he's none different to Balaram. So we can engage also in this festival. This is the Panihati Dham. Srila Prabhupada said this is the place where we can actually get the mercy of Shri Nityananda Prabhu. And that mercy specifically for us can be bestowed upon us by performing intense book distribution. Nityananda Prabhu, he is the spiritual master, and the only business, the business of the Guru is this book distribution. This is the business of the Guru. This book production, this book publication, this book distribution. It is the Guru's business. So it is the business. Nityananda Prabhu, he is the most merciful. So if we simply engage, surrender our mind, surrender our intelligence, surrender our body, our senses into the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, renounce our sense gratification, our what we like and what we don't like, and completely do what he desires to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, this is the place to get that mercy. That's why in Atlanta, Prabhupada, when he, in that arrival lecture, he said, this is the best temple. I've been to so many temples, but this is the best of the temples. He lands from Miami. And he says, I'm just come from Miami. He says Miami like that, Miami. But I have seen that your temple is the best out of all of them. Because intense book distribution was going on here. The airport, they had the best airport in the world to work. They were distributing so many thousands of books. I was talking to Gokula Ranjana Prabhu, and he was describing how they would work these national parks, this, what is this, Smoky Mountains. They would have people in the airports. They would be doing huge book distribution. Prabhupada was very pleased with that. Nityananda Prabhu is very pleased with that. So this place is this Atlanta. Srila Prabhupada, he came here and he installed Gaur Nitai. Actually, if you hear this arrival lecture, he actually is giving this his arrival address, and he just starts crying when he sees this. He starts to say this. What is this? He recites this song, Paudwijana Nitai Gaur Parama Karuna. What is the Parama Karuna? Bahudwijana Nitai Gaur Chandra. They're very merciful. These two lords, Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that they're very merciful. So we have this opportunity in this great place where Srila Prabhupada, he came to the airport. He was in that airport. He walked. He placed his lotus feet on this in this sinful land and sanctified it. Therefore, in Piedmont Park, we were so successful. We completely burned that place to the ground. He walked there. He was here, and he described this place to be the best of the best. And he said that back then, and we're now seeing it become manifest. We're seeing the book distribution take off again here in Atlanta. We're seeing the Krishna consciousness movement becoming revived. So many things are happening here in this center that is inspiring the whole world to take on book distribution again, take it to a new height. Bhagavatam sets on the streets. Bhagavatam sets to every gentleman and gentlewoman. Back into the airports, we're distributing there every day. So Srila Prabhupada, he said that this would be the best of the temples. This place, this Atlanta, has the best temple in the world. And the Acharya's words can never be untrue. So we can see how the words of Srila Prabhupada in this Panihati Dham, this temple, we can fulfill that order, or that statement that Srila Prabhupada said, that it is actually already there, that it will become manifest in time by the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So we can, if devotees, I advise everyone to read over this, see the mood of Raghunath Das Goswami, the mercy bestowed upon him by the renunciation that he exhibited. And today we're going to be also honoring this Chidda Dahi, all these different preps that were described with condensed milk and all this. The cooks are in the back over there doing their thing, preparing that. So when we are engaging in this festival, we can remember this specifically, this renunciation of Raghunath Das Goswami that allowed him to attain this. Because Nityananda Prabhu tells him that because you have surrendered like this, it will be very easy for you to do this, For us right now, it's very difficult for to always think of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu and all this, and always be engaged in Krishna consciousness. But if we just exhibit this renunciation that is favored by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then this surrender, the ability to surrender will become easier and easier and easier. So it is 8:42. So surrender, go out onto the streets, slog it out. It's very difficult, but surrender your mind. Even though your mind tells you, can I do this? Oh my God, this is so tough. Can I do this for the rest of my life? Oh my God, this is so hard. This like this is book distribution. The real thing is this. Is it like this? Is it like that? Forget all that nonsense. Surrender onto the instructions of the Acharya, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be pleased to you upon your surrender, and then he will bestow the intelligence by which he can understand everything properly. So I'll end my class there. If there's any questions or comments about this, please feel free to ask or comment. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any other men? No? Okay, anything from the Matajis? Any questions? Okay, nothing at all? Okay. Panihati Chidadahi Festival ki jai. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhya patitanam pavani.